Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. Today, we are going to be looking at X Factor number 7 from 1986. Got Angel right there in the corner box. And good cover here. Ron Franz, I believe, is the cover artist. And we've got both the Exterminators and X Factor at the same time with two of the Morlocks here. Now, I really like Jackson Guice. I think he is really, really good. He has that John Byrnish style of realism and yet cartoony at the same time. And if I had any pull in comic books, he would still be working. I think his stuff is wonderful. So we've got X Factor in their Exterminator's outfit, trying to sneak into their own airplane because of their uniforms were destroyed in the last issue here. And look at this. This is just a wonderful splash page here. This dude is a good artist. He really doesn't do a lot. Not that I've find, at least not based on how talented he is. So Louise Jones, who is married to Walter Simonson. I think this is the last time we'll see Jones. It'll be Simonson from now on. So she is our writer. Jackson Guice is our penciler with Josef Rubinstein doing the finishes. Bob Harris and Jim Shooter doing editorial. Now it's real weird that Bob Harris is the editor and not Ann Nocenti, who was the XMen editor at that time. So, all right. So as I mentioned, they are sneaking in, and these guys are listening to a news thing on the radio, and basically giving us a recap of the previous issue. I have a playlist with X Factor, X-Men, New Mutants, and everybody in an X Universe one, all done in reading order. So feel free to check that out. Beast causes a distraction, so the guys are gonna go investigate, leaving the Exterminators, which is what they are when they're dressed like this, to go in and sneak into the airplane, which actually I think is pretty cool here. So Jean is gonna try to use her telekinesis here, and we're gonna start here. I, for one, can't wait to get back east where things are sane. And Cyclops, as she picks him up, well, we'll get there as soon as you mind throw the access hatch. And she says, Scott, I don't know which switch to throw. I've never flown this kind of plane. And he says, honestly, Maddie, you. And then she says, Scott, who's Maddie? And he says, Maddie, she's someone who knows how to open a hatch. Kind of snapping at her. Now, real quick, this jerk still hasn't said anything, and we're 7 issues in. And I know that they were trying to keep this going for as long as they could, but when you reread it, you're kind of going, what a jerk. So he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. And so he does his optic and breaks the window, so it goes right through. And so she's like, Scott, and then he's like, he's so angry, but who's Maddie? I thought my rival was Phoenix. And so B says that he'll fix the window and to Iceman to switch off ice. And then of course Cyclops is like, I'm a fool, a heartless, inhumane creep. Why did I snap at her like that? A while back, Jean risked her life to save us. And so then we're gonna get exposition here about how she ended up becoming the Phoenix, and how he's loved, and then he called her Maddie, and so he says, I'm keeping my marriage a secret from her because if I tell her, I know I'll lose her. See what I mean? He's jerk, 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 jerk. So, and so when they wanted to get the new X-Men together, I understand I don't know. I feel like now, looking at it through 2025, this could have been done differently. Um, Perhaps, now it did allow Chris Claremont to come up with the Goblin Queen, and perhaps that wouldn't have happened if they would have gone with a different direction. So I guess things worked out for the better, but still, Cyclops just looks like a horrible individual. So, and Iceman turns on the television here, and of course, they're talking about the ice that he caused, and he's like, oh man. And so Beast fixes the window, and Angel's gonna take off. So now they are heading back to New York. So as they get to their headquarters here, they are mugged by protests. So we've got the pro mutant people and the anti mutant people here, and Trish Tilby, who will become a romantic interest of the Beast, is here. Now, here's the funny thing: life doesn't change, whether it's pro-gun or pro-abortion. There's always an anti-gun and an anti-abortion, and this is so funny. There's just humans do not change. It just other things may change, but yeah. So we've got pro mutants here and anti mutants here, and so X Factor shows up, and they are gonna go through this mob here, and then this is Beast's current girlfriend, and they're about to give her an interview, and Beast interrupts her, and off they go, trying to avoid all the press. And then this is Angel here, who is covering up his wings, who his wings actually should go a little higher, but that's all right. And so Cameron Hodge comes out and he says, "Good morning, I'm Cameron Hodge, X Factor's public relations director. Concerning X Factor's alleged involvement in the California mutant murders, and then Bobby's like, involvement, Warren, aren't PR men supposed to make their clients look better? And so here is Rusty and Artie, and they're like, hey, we made your sandwiches, and Cyclops says, I'll pass, Rusty. There's a phone call I've got to make. And he thinks here, this can't go on. I've got to tell Jean, but first I'll try to reach Maddie, swallow my pride, and phone everyone I know till I find her. And of course, she thinks, what's wrong with him? What call could be so important he can't be civil to a couple of kids who worship him? So they milk this for a little bit longer, just so that you know. So it just they really made him look like such a horrible person. But all right, and so we have the villains. This is in New Jersey here, and we got a dump ground, and these two. This is Glowworm and we'll get his name in a bit here. They're looking for some stuff, looking for some coils, and his name is Bulk here. He finds a mouse. He's gonna keep him. And then these gentlemen find them and start shooting at them. So they're gonna try to get away. And so Glowworm makes this thing here, a carburetor, and makes it explode. So they make their getaway real quick here. It turns out that they are dying and they have radiation poisoning, and that's the mouse ends up dying because of the radiation. And so they decide that since they're gonna die, they should make a difference before they die. And so they're gonna, you see the sign for X Factor, so they are going to obviously attempt to destroy X Factor. Now, Scott made some calls and can't find Madeline. Now, if actually I was wrong earlier, I think this is the issue actually where Jean finds out. I haven't read this in forever, so you'll have to excuse me because sometimes I go by memory. I thought she discovered it in X Factor like 19 or something like that. So I think it's this one here. So anyway, so he's like Maddie, he's like Maddie left me when he's really the one, by the way, that left Maddie. That's why it makes me so like I cannot believe that how they have made him into such a jerk. And so he's like, well, there's no putting it off any longer. I'll just have to get over with and tell Jean and watch her walk out of my life, just like Maddie did. Maddie did not walk out of his life. He walked out of hers. So, Jean, they're still talking about Scott, and she's apologizing to them because she's no longer has her telepathy, and she doesn't know how to kind of work without it. And so Angel suggests a game of tag, and so she's going to fight them. And she asks Iceman, "Is there someone else besides besides her in Scott's life, another woman?" And they're all like, "Another woman?" And she's like, "There is." And so um, the Beast now is gonna try and tackle her, and she thought it was just Phoenix, but she's can tell by the way Scott's acting, and she goes, "Haven't you people noticed?" Which of course they all have, and then she spins him around, and she's like, "Scott called me Maddie Warren. Who's Maddie?" As she deflects Iceman's thing. And look at his face here. And who Bobby? Who's Maddie? Is this she's Scott's girl? He's like, no, well, not exactly. And like, exactly, like how? And he's like, does he love her? Well, and then she figures out he's married, isn't he? That's what you're all keeping from me. He already has a wife. And she goes, I win. Thanks for the game, fellas. You were great opponents. Thanks for everything. As she just clobbered them. And they're like, Gene, wait. And Warren's going to try to go after her. And B says, the last thing Gene needs right now is you chasing after her tail. And Angel says, you're probably right, Bobby, but I can't help thinking that might just be what she needs. And they're like, oh, what a mess. It's always Iceman's stuff. So Glowworm and Bulk are in the Morlock tunnels, and they're like, they feel bad because the Morlocks are rejected by society, and yet the Morlocks shun them also like lepers. And Skid comes, you can't stop here. And she says, they're all like, why? And she's like, that's because, um, sorry, why don't they want us? She says, that's because you're dangerous because of the radiation. And then she says, how come you're pretty? And she says, it's because her name is Skids, and I think this is her first appearance. And she's a Morlock, but she can't be ugly because her powers skid off her, just like their radiation, so they can't hurt her. And so he's going to say, yeah, well, we're going to die, and we're going to take X Factor with us. So back at their headquarters, Rusty comes in for his session, and then he's worried about the reporters that are outside because he's wanted by the government. And then Iceman is like, we gotta clean this up before we are training. And then he uses his power and melts all evaporates. You can see this. So he evaporates all the ice. And so they're like, all right. And so here comes Artie, and he lets them know that Bulk and Glowworm are coming. And they were going to tell Cyclops, but Cyclops says, we all know, everybody knows. And here they are, and they're like, X Factor, you hunt mutants, we're mutants. Come out and hunt us, and we'll take you to glory with us, says Glowworms. And so here comes Vera, and they're like, you guys don't have anything. You can't stop them unless you use your powers. So Angel's gonna come up with an idea, and they need Jean. So they I think this panel is huge, but it convenes kind of how alone she is. But I just figured, man, this is a lot just to have her sit there. Anyway, so they're beeping her, but she smashes the beeper, and so here we have Glowworm and Bulk being shot at here, and of course they're like, these humans, and so here comes three of the members. And if you remember the cover, you'll see what's up here. And so Angel just couldn't because he's too public. And so they find Jean, and she's upset here. And um, Angel says, "You didn't answer the summons." And she's like, "No, I didn't, did I? What's the problem, Warren? You got more half lies you want to tell me? More nasty little secrets?" And he says, "A few more, I guess, but we don't have time for them. Scott and the others are in a lot of trouble, and it's up to us to bail them out." And he offers her hand. And I really, like I said, I really enjoy um, the art of Jackson Guice. I think he's really good, and it's a shame that he just didn't do a lot of stuff. So, and you can see that the three members are gonna join them, and so they're like, "How the heck did they get all the way from California over here?" And of course, she gives them the name Exterminators, and so they purposely kind of trip, so they're trying to take him down, and he's blasting but not making sure not to hit anyone. And so and so um Glowworm says, "Who are these people?" And he Bulk says, "I don't know, Glowworm. They say they're on our side, but they ain't too good at helping, are they? Ain't too good at sneaking around either." And so Glowworm says, "Get out of here. This is our fight." And he throws this, and Cyclops blasts it here, and there everyone is like, "Hey, are they fighting each other?" And so they let them know they're sick, they're about to die, and they want to take X Factor with them, and they realize that they are radioactive, and Scott's like, "We got to get him out of here." And so Iceman uses his ice powers, and you can see he starts raising that piece of the road here, and then here comes X Factor. And so most likely we have, so there's five of them, so most likely we have Jean, Angel, probably Rusty, and I would say Cameron Hodge is another one. So here comes Glowworm. He's gonna throw him this thing here, and so Vera is the other one. And so um, Jean's using her telekinetic to catch that thing here, and pretends he has a flamethrower, but he's really using his uh, powers there. So she uses her telekinetic, and I love this, a mutant gravity disruption wave, not that. So they're definitely selling here, and so ultimately, they're going to lead away. You can see here Cyclops is using his powers here to keep the people back, and so they get away, and so they basically explain to them what X Factor is, and why they do what they do, but they can't take him in, unfortunately. Um, it wouldn't be safe for anybody, and they leave, and they're like, "Well, thanks for saving us. Thanks for nothing." And so they're gonna go back up to their headquarters because they have a they apparently can get into the sewer tunnels from in there. It's funny, you can get from the sewers from everything. And so Scott's like, now all we have to do is work on the mutant hunter angle. Jeannie, you were great. What teamwork, even if the circumstances were less than ideal. And she's like, "Teamwork, cut the baloney, Scott. You and me, we've got some serious talking to do." So, thus ends the issue. Next, Scott versus Jean, X Factor versus Freedom Force. So, things are definitely getting getting hotter here. And we're only a few issues to get into the Mutant Massacre. So that's going to be exciting. X Factor number 7 by Louise Jones and Jackson. I almost said Jackson Pollock. Jackson Guice, also known as Butch Guice. And it's going to be Louise Simonson, actually. So, like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.